I came across a site called Social Catfish, and they promised for a small fee to find anyone with the most basic of information. So I paid them some money, and within 48 hours they sent me an email saying they'd found his real identity.
Today we're sitting down with Susannah Birch, who was targeted by an online predator at the age of 15. This predator used his own 17-year-old son's images to trick Susannah into sending images of her own.
Catfished.
So when did your online relationship start, and how long did it last?
When I was 15, I entered a teen chat room and I started chatting to people who I thought were other teenagers. The chat room I met this man in was called Teen Chatway. When we started chatting, I thought he was 17 years old, and then we started talking. We ended up in an online relationship. We dated from the time I was 15 till I was 18.
Here are some tips to help minimize the risk of your child becoming the next online victim. Get involved. Talk to your kids about sexual predators and potential online dangers. Never download images from an unknown source. They could be sexually explicit. Never reveal personal information, including age and gender, to anyone online, and not filling out online personal profiles. Young children shouldn't use chat rooms, period. The dangers are just too great. As children get older, direct them towards well-monitored kids' chat rooms. Even your teens should be encouraged to use monitored chat rooms.
While we dated and had an online relationship, he sent me photos. And I went, wow, they're authentic photos. They appear to be aging, and it looks like a real person.
And isn't it true you used your own son as bait to attract Susannah online?
And how did this person make you feel?
I fell madly in love with him because he was really intelligent. Up till that point, I didn't have a lot of experience with boys. So I met this amazing guy on the internet, and he was smart, and he was my age. So I was really impressed, and I also thought to myself, this must be real, because he's never asked me for money. He's never just appeared and then disappeared. He's there every day when I log on after school.
Just because they haven't asked for money doesn't mean you're in the clear. These predators will get you emotionally attached and try to get you to send sexual photos or something to blackmail you with later on. When did you realize you had been catfished?
I didn't realize I was being catfished till I was 27, which was 12 years after I originally started talking to Richard on the internet. Up till that point, I'd actually started to question things, because we had a 3-year relationship online, and then we had a 9-year friendship after that, after we broke up. So I went to a website called socialcatfish.com, and for a surprisingly cheap price compared to other ones I'd seen, I went, okay, here is his email, here is the details I have, which weren't that many in reality, and can you please find out this man's real identity? I found out that he was actually a man who was 62 years old, which meant that when I first started talking to him, he was 50 years old, and at that point he was married, he was a former policeman, and he had children and grandchildren.
What a creep this guy is. What's even more scary is how many online predators are out there just like this guy looking for underage victims. Do you have sympathy for any of these people who are out there scamming others?
I have sympathy for ones who don't do it specifically to harm other people. I don't agree with what they do, but I do feel some sympathy for being in that situation where you feel so bad about yourself that you have to lie about your identity. However, when it comes to scammers who literally go into it just for illegal reasons to get money or other things like that, I have no sympathy for those.
If you could help somebody else in the same situation, what would you tell them?
I think the most important thing for me was realizing that I shouldn't feel guilty about asking questions, because whenever I talk to Richard and ask him questions, he'd say things like, "You've known me for all these years, why don't you trust me? What's wrong with this? What did I do to make you not like me or not trust me?"
The more questions you ask, the more these predators become nervous. They will begin to manipulate you and make you feel sorry for asking questions.
I'd recommend that they do some kind of video chat, and also make sure that these people actually have a real social media account. So often they set up a fake one and they might only have 5 posts and 2 or 3 friends. Or they might not even be real friends who don't engage with them at all on social media. So you need to make sure that they actually have a real digital footprint and that they're actually real on video.
I could go to your Facebook profile right now, open your albums, right-click and save every image you have on there, create a new profile, create a fake name, upload the images, and Facebook would never even know, and you wouldn't either. And how has being a victim changed you?
I don't consider myself a victim. In fact, after I found out his real identity, I felt a huge amount of relief. Because finding out that this person who you've always had niggling doubts about, finding out that he wasn't real made me believe in myself and go, okay, you should trust your instincts, and you were right.
And do you forgive the person who catfished you?
That's a complicated question. I did forgive him in the sense of I can empathize with him, which I think is a really important part of forgiveness. And I can understand to some degree why he must have done it. But I don't forgive him to the point where I've fully recovered from it or feel fully healed from the experience.
You're probably hoping this guy's in jail for life. Unfortunately, he is not. The website him and Susannah used to talk on has been shut down and they could not pull any evidence to show to the cops. Although, he did lose his job and was put on a current affair and went out to millions of people.
Isn't it true that you asked Susannah for naked photos of herself from the age of 15?
Absolutely not.
If you could go back to your 15-year-old self now with what you know, what would you say to yourself?
I tell my 15-year-old self, trust your intuition. If something feels off, it's not you being paranoid, it's actually you having a gut instinct that something isn't right.
Have you tried any online dating since you've gone through this whole mess?
Well, I'm very fortunate because when I was 18, I broke up with Richard because he proposed to me, and 2 weeks later, he changed his mind and broke up with me. And it wasn't the first time he'd broken up with me online. And I just got sick of it. I went, you proposed to me, you said you were going to marry me, and once again you've broken up. I'm not dealing with this anymore. A few months later, I actually met a man called David, and we ended up getting married about 1.5 years later. So I've been married for 12 years now.
If you would like to read Susannah's personal blog about the story, you can find the link in the description below. If you want to see more videos just like this, please like and subscribe below.
Catfished.